So next thing is I can create a filter for the year in which we are looking for. So for example, I can say year underscore filter is equal to. So for year filter, I can either have a drop down, or I can have a slider, or we can also see if we have any calendar widget as well. So since we are getting started with some basics, I'll go with slider to start with. Drop down is something that you have already seen it, so you don't have to worry about creating a select box. Instead, we will see how to create a slider. So slider, we will move the slider to change the year. Okay, so let's do that. So st.slider, so it has to be part of sidebar. So I'll keep it st.sidebar.slider. What options do we have for slider? Let's search it. st.slider. Always good to go to the documentation page. So st.slider, what options? It takes a label, minimum value, maximum value, what is the current value it should take by default, the step. So as I increase the slider, should it increase one at a time, or it should increase 2 or 5 at a time? So in many sliders, you will see years moving in terms of 5 years at a time, right? Or when you take a loan calculator, as you move the year slider, number of years, you will see 10 years, 12 years, or 15 years, 20 years, so like that. So what is the step? So those you can mention it here. And whether it has to be, a lot of other options are available, whether it has to be int or float. So if you pass on step equal to 1, it will be of type int. 1 year at a time it will go. If there are places where you need floating options, you can say 1.0 or 0.01 and all those. Okay, so different options available for sliders. So let's create a very basic slider. So label equal to select a year, and we can say options, not options, min value. I'm going to keep it as 1971 because I know from this data that is the minimum year that we have. Maximum value is let's take 2012. That is the year I know we have it in this particular data. Step equal to 1. Okay, so I have created the filter, but I'm not using it anywhere else as of now. st.sidebar, we know why we are using it, because this component should be part of the sidebar. Label is something that we know it will display above the widget what is the widget is all about. Minimum value from which the slider should start with, maximum value in from the maximum value of the slider, and as I move the slider, what should be the incremented value. So it's saying 1, that's it. So when you save this file, when you go back to the dashboard, so refresh it, so you will see a slider here coming in. So as of now nothing will happen, just that the dashboard will refresh as I change the filter, that is I change the slider. So the minimum year is 1971, maximum year is 2012, and one movement is one step, and it just increases or decreases based on the direction in which I'm changing the slider. So this is the label that we saw, select a year, and we got the input widget. So whatever filter I'm selecting, so whatever year I'm selecting, so we can say st.write, you have selected the year. So you can display the year filter value. So whenever someone changes the year, the current year, the latest year will be available in this variable, and I'm utilizing it here. Like country filter that we did earlier, I'm utilizing it here to just display what year I've selected. So it says currently I've selected Afghanistan and I've selected the year 1971. If I change it to, let's say, 1995, it says I've selected 1995. If I change it to 2007, 2012. So as I keep changing the slider value, you can see the value getting updated here. And if I change it to another country, so for England, for the year 1976, that's how we are doing it. But for now, the data is only filtered for country alone. Keep that in mind, because we are filtering the data only for the country. We haven't utilized the year filter, which we will do it in some time. Okay, but we have displayed it in the sidebar. We have displayed the country filter, the country filter as well as the year filter. But while filtering the data, we are filtering only the country. We haven't utilized this particular year filter in the data filtering part, which we will do it in some time. Okay, so let me explain pandas 2 underscore datetime first, and then I will come back to this again. So I'm going to create a new file called as playground.ipynb. So don't worry about this for now. So it's only for code explanation purpose. So let's say I read the data separately here. So I'm going to explain what is how to extract date time, how to extract year from a pandas column. It is like a Jupyter notebook in VS Code. Don't worry about this part. So data.head default, if you look at the D types, match date column will be of type object, which means that it is of type string. In Excel also, if you have a date column, you can extract year alone using year function. Likewise in pandas, first we have to change the data type. So instead of object, which is of type string, we have to convert it into a proper date time column. So we have to say data, the column name is match date. We have to first say pd.to underscore date time, pass the match date column. Ideally we will pass the format in which we have the data, but I'm skipping that for now. Pandas itself will identify what is the date format which is available. So this function pd.to underscore datetime will help to convert a column which is of type string to a datetime column, so that if you want to extract date, month and all, it will be very easy for you to extract those if the column type is of type date time. If it is of type object, it is a basic string. It will be a bit difficult to extract year. Year is easy, last 4 characters you can take, but if you want to extract whether it is Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, it will be very difficult. So what we can do is first typecast the column type. So from match date, which is of type object in pandas, it means that it is of type string, almost treat it like a string column. So we are converting it into a date time column, so that pandas will able to understand that it contains date information like month, year, and it will also help you to extract whether it is Monday or Tuesday and all. So now after conversion, if you look at data.dtypes, you will see this column is of type datetime 64. Earlier it was of type object, whereas now it is of type datetime 64. So this conversion has happened, the type conversion has happened because of this function pd.to underscore datetime. So it has automatically recognized the date format which we have, and then it will help us. So now if you actually read the data, and let's say I want to extract year from my column, let's say capital Y I use data, this column doesn't exist in our data. So if you look at the data, initially this column will not be available for us. all we have is these columns only we have until URL. We don't have a column called year, but we are going to create one. So how are we going to create one? Using match date column. So match date column contains year, month and day. Okay, but we need only the date column. So what we are going to do is, using the match date column, which is of type datetime 64, because we have used pd.to underscore datetime and overwritten the same column name. Now I can use this column and then say .dt.year. That's it. So when we do this, and if you ask for data.head, you will see a new column called year in your data frame, and only the year information alone will be available for you. So I repeat, in order to extract year alone from my data, I am converting this column match date, which is initially of type string. I'm converting this into a date time column. That is the first operation that I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Because moment I convert this match date column into date time column, it's very easy for me to do lot of date operations. So I can even get what is the weekday, whether it is Monday or Tuesday. So someone might ask you, it's very easy, right? So you either take the first 4 characters, or originally before conversion it was towards the end, last 4 characters will give you the year. But what about if you want to extract whether it's Monday or Tuesday, which you don't have this information directly available here. But since it is of type date time column, you will able to extract the day of the week as well. So for example here, so I can say day of week. You can read about it a bit later, but I'm just showing you the use case alone. So you can say whether it is Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. So pandas will automatically, the datetime library will automatically able to extract the day information, weekday information as well. That is the advantage of converting a column which is of type string, that is object, into a column called date time match date, but of type datetime 64. And now we can extract or create as many columns that we want. I can extract month, I can extract day, I can extract month and year alone. I can extract so for example, if I want to extract month and year alone, so these names are something that I'm giving based on my convenience, but all this utilizes the match date column dot dt dot string from time. So if I want year underscore, if I want a month, I can get that as well. So you can see I can extract only the year and month. Moment you have this match date column, which is of time date time 64, you can do a lot of different options on top of this. So if you want to read more about date time column, I will suggest a video. Probably I'll add it in my list. So I've already added one. I have one video in my channel. I will share that link to you, so you can read more about datetime operations. Yeah, so this is my YouTube channel, and you can read about data operations. I can copy this link and then post it over here, so you can see what are the data operations that are available. Now we know how to get the year column, right? So now let's get back. We have to put this in the code that we have. So what changes did we do? We converted it into a date time. So let's do that. So after I read the data, here itself I will do it so that it will get cached. Okay, so that is one. So I'm adding this conversion in the data reading part itself, and I'll also extract the year. For now I'm interested only with the year, so I'm extracting the year, and part of data reading, basically I'm caching the year extraction also, so that I don't repeat this very operation. This is a very costly operation. Typically we'll also specify the format in which the data is available. You can watch the video there to understand more about it. So you have to specify in what format you have the information. Day hyphen, for month hyphen day hyphen full year. So month hyphen day hyphen full year. So I'm not spending too much of time. If you add the format in which your data is available, this function will be slightly faster. Otherwise it is very slow function. If you have 10 million records, or let's say very large number of records, this function might take a lot of time to execute it. If you add the format parameter, that is what is the format in which your date is available. So the format in which our data is available, the date is available is month month hyphen day hyphen year, full year. So that is what I mentioned it here, month hyphen day hyphen full year. So what is this format parameter? Probably in offline you can read about it or watch the video to get more understanding on that. So now let's go back to our data, refresh it. It might take a few seconds because we are changing the data, so the cache has to get cleared and then recreate the cache. So now we have the year filter, but currently it is of type, let's check the type of the column. What is the type of year column? It should be of type string ideally, because for now when we get the data, when we get the data from filter, so year is of type integer. Fine, keep that in mind, because when the slider value is coming, it will be of type string always. It will be of type string. So let's confirm that. What is the type of so let's quickly confirm type of year filter. So let's look at type of year underscore filter. I hope this will run. Let's just check. Yeah, it is all type int only. Fine, both have int. So this one comes as integer, which is very crucial, because if this comes as a string, and if your column is of type int, and if you do a filtering, it will not happen properly. Both has to be of same type, which is happening by default here. So we need not worry about much. So don't worry about it. Fine. So getting back, what we have done, we learned how to extract year from the match date column. So we have extracted year, new column called year, and we have a year filter as well. Now we know what year the user is selecting. Now it's time for us to use that and filter the data accordingly. So earlier filtering was happening only for country, but now we have year filter also that is there. So instead of this line, we'll filter based on two parameters. One is this country selected, another one is the year selected. So data country equal to what the country the user has selected, and data year equal to whatever the year filter the user selected. That's it. Earlier we were filtering it using one filter alone. Now we are filtering it using country. So this is the country filter. Then we are filtering it based on the year as well. So both are applied. Now let's look at the output. So for 1971, we are not having any records for Afghanistan. So let's select India. Let's select for India. For 1971, we don't have any records. 1972, no records. 1973, no records. 1974, we are seeing some rows here. So we played against England in 1974. That is the first date in which India played against England in ODI. Okay, so let's say I select 2012. So 2012, again no records for India. 2011, 2010 is there, 2011 is there. 2012, I don't think any data is available in this data set at least. So you can see for a particular country, for a particular year, we are able to select rows. So if I change it to Australia, so I can see for Australia for a particular year, we have this information available. All we did here is just used that year filter in the filtering part. That's it. While writing the data frame, we can say utilize the full width, because currently the data frame is using only half of the width, right? This space is empty. We can say use container width is equal to true. Additional parameter which will make our data frame looks proper. So let's go back to this. Say always rerun. So you can see now it is utilizing the full width of this web page. So all I've done is, while writing it to the web page, I'm using an additional parameter called use container width, the original container width, and use the 100% of it. So that is the parameter that we are using. So we learned how to create input widgets. So we know how to create a drop down. We know how to create a slider. We know how to use those values, filtered values, all those input widgets values to filter our data frame.